Hey, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen and variations thereof, welcome at long last to the Selectives Lorecast, a casual Elder Scrolls podcast. Where the heck were we? We dropped right off the planet, every single one of us, no longer here, but we just came back on a big moth ship. We're going to talk about Alesia today.
Yay!
With me today are...
Chris Franzen, otherwise known as Mojo.
I'm Daria, also known as Lady Nerevar.
I am Putnam. That's my name, I guess. Right now.
And I am Corey, known as Ethereus74, and Gwen3 on Reddit.
Okay. A little bit of background, just a little bit of historical fact to try to get people caught up to what we're talking about. Saint Alessia. Alessia was a mortal who has been declared a saint by the various versions of Cyrodiilic religion. She led the rebellion against the Ayleids. Oh, hey, Luther's here. Say hi, Luther.
Hello.
She led the rebellion against the Ayleids back in First Era, I want to say. Help me out.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
400s,
Yep, okay.
300s?
Okay. And, right, and I wouldn't say she unified Cyrodiil as we know it, but she definitely got a lot of Cyrodiil together under one banner to fight the Ayleids and take back the White Gold Tower, or take the White Gold Tower, excuse me, for men. Theoretically wiped out the Ayleids, but a few people I know have a very different opinion about that.
Yeah. So
And,
she basically began the era of man.
Okay.
It's essentially, she's a mother of man, is the way as I look at it.
Now, the Nords weren't doing anything before that?
No, they were, but
Okay.
but everyone knows that the prime real estate is Cyrodiil.
That's
no.
swampy real estate.
If Lady Cinnabar is to be believed, it's Alesia taking over that turned it all into plains anyway.
Yep, which was a pretty good one. And easier for people to wrap their heads around than Chim, probably.
No, it's about
yeah.
equal.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's true, actually. Yeah.
White Gold Tower warping the surrounding area to accommodate its current owners is about as
Yeah.
weird.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. Although it makes a whole lot of sense when you start thinking about White Gold Tower as the center of a wheel, but
It's better than a transcription
there we
error.
go again. Yeah. Well, I don't know. The explanation. Let's talk about really quick the fact that Cyrodiil in the first Pocket Guide to the Empire was described as being a swamp, or much of it was described as being a swamp. And
A swamp, jungle,
yeah,
rainforest thing.
jungle. It was a jungle. You're right. Yeah, not a swamp, but a jungle. Big difference.
For completion's sake, I mean, it does say in the center that the Nimine Valley was grassland. So it wasn't like the whole thing was just rough-ass jungle. There was still some variation to it.
And it's obviously when Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion showed up, it very wasn't, and a lot of people were scratching their heads about that. And Kirkbride suggested that this was because Tiber Septim had willed it into, had spoke it into a grassland for his people. And later, I think later on, Lady Cinnabar was written after that, right?
That was in,
No, before.
Before, yeah, in terms of Lady
No, I
Cinnabar.
mean
was-
like in terms of game development.
Doyle-
it was
oh,
after.
Yes,
Story-wise
after.
wise, yeah, that was online, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think I've ever read Lady Cinnabar.
You're missing out, bruh.
Yeah,
It's actually she's really good.
She basically just takes everything Frastus of Ellen here says and
It's like wrong.
tears it down.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's really great. It's really great that you get, even in Elder Scrolls Online, you still get arguing lore nerds, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But it doesn't the commentaries on Mysterium's Arxes say that that he did change
Yes.
into a grassland? So that
it does
was
sort of back it up.
talked about in Oblivion, in a book, of course. But
It was also mentioned in Skyrim.
yes, by
Yep.
the crazy what's his name, Einsker or whatever.
Time Scurv, yes.
Yep.
So you guys want to talk about like Paravana and Horizon to Power and Pelinal and Morihaus and
Oh,
that?
I'm always down
Yes.
to talk about Pelinal.
No.
Alessia, can you guys kind of try to paint a picture of what Cyrodiil was like under Ayleid rule?
Yeah, sure. I want to do this because this is my favorite period in history.
know.
Any objections?
No,
go
go
ahead.
for it.
Alrighty. So during the Ayleid Empire, which may not be described as an empire, but more or less a confederacy of many city-states and minor kingdoms, humanity was systematically enslaved under Ayleid rule. The Ayleids are the Heartland High Elves. And a long time ago in a town, I don't really recall.
Start of our lead.
Yeah, that one. Alessia was a part of slaves there, and that was known as the most, brutal area. So she was in a field or somewhere working, and a red star fell from the sky. And she had a vision from Akatosh, and Akatosh said, drive the elves out of Cyrodiil and free humanity. And then she picked up that, which was the Kaimel Adabal, which is the
Amulet of Kings.
Amulet of Kings, yeah.
The what? Kaim El Adabal. I guess.
Yeah, Kim
Kim
El
El
Adabal.
I
Yeah.
call it Kim El
Yes.
Adabal.
Kim El Adabal. Yeah, that's what it's
So
called.
shortly after that, I guess she traveled to Sankar-Tor, which is
Sankar Tor is actually where she had
the three visions, yeah. Which is
And-
why she traveled there.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Which you can go to in Oblivion if you want. It's ruins, I think.
Yep.
ESO, it's
Yeah.
better in
Yeah.
ESO. Kind of cool
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, it is nice.
And she had three visions after she prayed to the Aedra for liberation from the Daedra worshipping Ayleids. And so the first that came to her was a man of Tor named Morihaus, demigod, breath of Kine. And then the second showed up, painted in the blood of Ayleids, named Pelinal Whitestrake. He's like, yo, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Alessia united the Aedrophile Ayleids and the Nords and the free tribe and other tribes of I guess native Cyrodiils, and they drove out the Ayleids from Cyrodiil. So I left out a big part about the White Gold Tower, and I'm going to let someone else go over that. So I spoke so long.
I think it's important to mention that she didn't really drive the Ayleids out from Cyrodiil entirely.
Well, the Daedra Files
she did
she
for
did.
some of them.
She drove
A
out
lot
the
of them just A lot
Yeah.
of them stuck around and were part of our empire later
Yeah,
until
they
Marukh
integrated.
showed up and wasted them.
Yeah, that was a major part of the Alessian order, and the momentum it gained. That's the biggest reason why Marukh's everything he wrote spread so quickly is because of people's already their disgust with the Ayleids that were left, and I mean, geez, didn't they slowly leave,
Yeah,
going into High Rock and Valenwood?
Valenwood
Yeah,
and
they went into Valenwood and
Whitemarsh.
they kind of were big shots over there for a while, weren't they?
Well, they are pretty tall.
Well, what is it that the Ayleids were good at that would make them so dominant in a particular area?
Magic.
Well, in Valenwood, obviously, their ability to pluck fruit from trees without having to climb.
Okay, because they're tall people. The joke here is that they're very tall. Well, I'm hoping that somebody who mentioned Ayleid flesh magics is basically what I'm digging for here.
Yeah.
Flesh
go ahead.
magic? They were obsessed with Starlight, I thought.
They did that too. You're thinking
There's
about
a mention of them. I had found it for Nerdak like a month ago or so, there is a mention of Ayleids practicing flesh magic, and I feel like it was a major mention.
The Audubon or Song of Pelinal, isn't it, where they're making
Yeah.
The gut garden.
Flesh sculptures, yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
flesh
gut
sculptures,
gardens.
Gut gardens.
And it's widely inferred that these were Daedrophile Ayleids who followed Molag Bal, who did the flesh.
Oh, really?
Because we know we have Adrophiles, and which we kind of group Meridia with the Adrophiles as well, but
Really?
which is kind of weird because then she's a Daedra, but
Keep going. Yeah.
but we have think of it like the four corner
Of
with
the House of Troubles.
yeah, with exception to Malakath, Ayleids versus Meridia and the other Aedra, or Meridia and the Aedra versus each other. The Meridians and the Aedrophiles sided with Alessia, from what we can see so far. Again, there's always an exception, except when there isn't. And then
Right.
those who followed Molag Bal and other major Daedra clashed. But which is kind of weird to say because Umaril was
He was worship Meridia
yeah,
because Meridia saved him.
All right.
literally
Yeah.
literally the son of Meridia is the way they're calling it.
Well, I don't know if
Oh.
he traced his heredity back to an Aedra, I think.
Yeah, but we're just
Can't we all? Can't they all?
it kind of does the mirror type thing, Morihaus versus him, kind of. It's the mirror brothers, and then we have Pelinal in the middle, who's
Oh.
Yeah, it's a
Oh, yeah,
thematic.
Kind Meridia. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. I never saw that before.
so
Wow.
like I said, there's always an exception when there isn't.
But
Who wants to talk about what happened at the White Gold?
The only thing I know about is when Pelinal got his head ripped off.
yeah, 8 pieces.
Well, they stormed White Gold. So let's see. At this time, this would have been when Alessia had Morihaus and Pelinal fighting for her.
Yes.
And they stormed White Gold Tower to kill all the Ayleids that were in it.
Well,
Pelinal went in
Right.
first.
Okay.
they were all
Pelinal,
hanging
all right.
out
Pelinal
at
got
the
pissed after his lover died, I think, and stormed in there first.
It should also be noted, too, that Alessia had forged an alliance with rebel Ayleid lords, which also helped secure that win. But, I mean, that's all, it's the Song of Pelinal really describes it in completion. Forgot where I was going with that. Something Pelinal.
Something. Well, a lot of lore ends up like that.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I know everybody's champing at the bit to talk about Pelinal, so let's get Morihaus out of the way real quick. Morihaus being depending on what description you read of him, he seems to pretty accurately fit the general idea of a minotaur, a half man, half bull.
For some reason, I always thought he was. I mean, for some reason, I've been always thinking he was just literally a bull with moth.
Yeah.
He's literally a bull. He's
me too.
He's been described to me as like an auroch-sized bull, so prehistoric, ancient, big. I think he was supposed to be like creamy colored with these big white wings and gold tattoos and shit.
Nice.
Because that's always sexy.
Pretty sweet looking.
And a giant erection. Yeah, and Morihaus is the winged bull of Kine. There's a there's this if I had known we were going to mention Morihaus, I would have done. I have research on the connection between Morihaus, the bull, and the representation of man in alchemy. And air and a bunch of other stuff, and I don't know where the hell those notes went anymore, but they were really juicy. But it was basically this really, really strong connection between the symbolism of the bull and of air as the breath of life, and the separation of man from Earth, and all this other kind of wonderful stuff.
Oh.
And you guys are just going to have to do it on your own because I just don't have it anymore.
Yeah, if you find that, make sure you post it in the link section.
Yeah, I'll see if I can. Well, no, it's literally stuff that I scribbled in OneNote. So
get
a
hold of that.
Try
to get a hold of it.
It's kind of always sign as kind of like a virility, or not kind, but Morihaus as a sign of virility too, like you know from you know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's part of the idea of the breath of life is that it's the gift of existence, of life into an inanimate object, which is very similar to the act of reproduction and insert and heralded love into a hillock here, and but the bull was a big thing. There was something about the horns as a symbol of power, and anyway, it was good. Just take my word for it. I'm awesome. Okay.
All right, you have to write that one up.
Yeah.
You have to back that up at some point.
I never do. But Pelinal, probably a lot of obscure lore nerds like to talk about Pelinal a whole lot because he's been sort of like handed around like obscure lore nerds as being like what is it we call him
a robot from the future.
Terminator.
Swarm foam war fractal.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it the name that Morgan came up with, which I prototype extraliminal interstitial.
Oh
shit! Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Something. I can't remember.
Salt lattice.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Oh yeah, he dropped the end because MK owed a letter in Kinmoon.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, that's that. So the idea is that Pelinal was sent to Alessia from the future, an indeterminate point in the future.
I thought it was the Ninth Era.
Maybe it was. I'm very vague about this stuff.
I
do
don't think it was
know
ever specified.
I'm sure it's mentioned by MK's.
I mean, I
fifth or sixth in
the
my
only
head
mention
somewhere.
is that he was arrayed in armor from the future time,
Right.
and I think that's really the only bit that even goes remotely into detail from whence he came.
Oh, really? I've never.
I think
his chest there was a gap in his chest where a red light shone or something.
Red diamond heart, whatever you want to call it.
Like a lot of the description of Pelinal in the Song of Pelinal is you can argue, in my opinion, very convincingly that it's the description of primitive people of highly advanced technology. So when they say that there's like a light in his chest, that could be a magical emblem that's or like just an enchanted jewel that they don't know what the hell it is. When they say that a bright light shone from his hand and wiped away reality, that could just be one particularly fancy version of a lightning spell.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, the
Or a
way it's
laser
written
pistol.
is so much more badass than just a red light. Like a chest that gaped open and showed no heart, only a red rage-shaped diamond, that diamond fashion, singing like a mindless dragon. Like that is hardcore.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty hardcore. Proof that he was a myth echo, and that he trod where shapes of the first urging. That's pretty sweet.
Kill you if you told him that, though.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the things about Pelinal is that he didn't like people talking about how he might be a god, and which is interesting too. But
I don't know where he got the moths from.
One of the things that I sort of like to roll around in my head is why Alessia received visions from
Daedra.
from Akatosh, who is traditionally considered to be a more elven god than a mannish god.
Well,
Did he receive visions from Akatosh or from Lorcan? That's the...
Well,
There's that whole amulet who put her in the amulet thread from years and years back. I remember read that.
Yeah.
What?
It was stuff
amulet,
about
amulet who put her in the amulet. It's in the Till archives.
Oh.
And a lot of people were talking about why it's, Akatosh and not Lorcan. It seemed like it really ought to be Lorcan doing all this kind of conversation. And they raised a lot of interesting points about, is there a difference between Akatosh and Lorcan?
More than that, it was that in some texts it was Akatosh, and other texts it was Lorcan in relation to when she died, who appeared to her and who put her in the Amulet of Kings. So
Alessia is described as the wife of Akatosh, Shazar, and Morihaus. So it's really bizarre that you have, if we're looking at this at an Aldmeri perspective, to have her as the wife of not only Shazar, the
missing god,
which is kind of like the watered-down version of Lorcan, and then you have her as the wife of Akatosh, whose mirror brother is Ariel. And then you have Morihaus, obviously, who's Breath of Kine, related to Kinnereth.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the whole thing in ESO, spoilers, that the Kyle out of Baal may be a just like super powerful soul gem.
Mm-hmm.
That's not just for me still, though. That's been around since, I don't know when, but I remember that before ESO.
Yes, but it's been around since before ESO, but they kind of went into it that the Kyle out of Baal, Meridia may have had a hand in making it.
Mm.
Well, that makes sense because it was around as the stone of the white gold before Alessia.
Yeah.
Which, again, makes you wonder why it was given to Alessia, supposedly out of nowhere, if it's existed past that.
That's right, because the whole stone tower theory thing is that the Amulet of Kings is the stone of the tower of White Gold Tower.
Exactly.
Yeah. All this association of soul gems with Lorcan makes me wonder if it's actually the other way around.
Huh?
If soul gems aren't associated with Lorcan, if Lorcan is not associated with soul gems, but soul gems are just associated with Lorcan.
No, I think that soul gem is associated with his heart. It's like an echo, or it's a reflection of his heart. And in that it's a reflection of his heart, it's also a reflection of the dragon god, because it's connected to dragon-blooded and dragonborn and all that, and the royal family.
Also, another gigantic soul gem that's somewhat associated with Lorcan being the Mantella, which is something of a soul gem.
It's literally a soul gem.
Yeah,
the Mantella is an actual
There's some pretty powerful souls all up in it.
Yeah, but those souls are all Shazarines. So
and it can power Numidium just like the heart.
Yeah. But the Shazarines,
which makes you wonder whether or not the heart of Lorcan is itself a soul gem, or if all soul gems are variations of the heart of Lorcan, or
all blood. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you want to get technical, you can probably make an argument that the heart of Lorcan eventually fossilized, and then it became like a stone, and in a volcano became a gem, and fucking holds souls and shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I think all gems can become soul gems as long as you do the proper magical whatever rituals for them.
Anything can become a soul gem, I think, because there's mentions of Argonians using unhatched eggs as soul gems.
Really?
Ooh.
So they're almost like phylactery.
Magical items are probably just.
Can a dude
gems.
just take a shit and turn that shit into a soul gem?
Probably.
Franzen, you saw Holy Mountain. Come on.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And now I think magical items might just be soul gems put into something or another and done something or another with. It's all very abstract anyway.
And we're also getting way off topic about soul gems.
I don't know.
And now Franzen's thinking about, would you like some gold?
Such a great movie. It's fucked though.
So Alessia leads the doesn't physically lead, I would assume. I don't think she was on the battlefield, but leads the rebellion
She rides Morihaus into battle, on the back of
Fucking A.
What? Really?
And shit.
Flies in battle.
Of course she did. Of
Morihaus
course.
into battle.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so Alessia leads the Alessian rebellion. and takes over the White Gold Tower and tosses a bunch of Ayleids around. And then during that time, where now the Cyrodiil has become, let's just say, roughly controlled by men, by the Cyrodiils. And after that, there's a period of how long before Marukh comes along, the Prophet Most Simeon?
80 years or something? It's not very long.
No,
It's
Long
not long
time.
at all? Okay.
So at this time, the Alessian hegemony, the first
Oh, yeah.
empire had been established.
Right, and we should mention what happened to Alessia when she died.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
she pretty much ascends to heaven.
Among us,
Mm,
In one of them.
heaven.
Well, Avirius, wherever
We don't know where
Akatosh
she
is.
went, actually. We don't know exactly where she went, because she could have went to Aetherius, she could have, like, went to, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
well,
this
yeah.
like even her
Earth?
resting spot. Some say she was buried at Sanctor, others say she was buried beneath the Temple of the One. So we
Yeah.
don't actually. There's a lot of whatchamacallit? Contradiction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on one she ascends to Akatosh, and another with Shazar, and another she literally becomes the Earth, which I like the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Actually, hold on.
Well, real quick, just to make sure I have my facts straight, when she passes, is it on her deathbed that she supposedly makes the deal with Akatosh for the
Yes.
Amulet of Kings?
Well, in Song of Pelinal, Volume 8, Pelinal is at Alessia's deathbed, even though he was killed already.
Technically dead, but let's move on.
And I guess, I mean...
Morihaus brought his head along in a bag.
and
Hey everyone, Pelinal's here.
he literally says, "Let us now take you up. We will show our true faces, which eat one another in amnesia each age," which... I mean, basically she was taken to heaven, in that sense.
Well, what does that mean? That eat each other?
Oh,
faces that eat each other in amnesia.
It's the Kelpic cycle.
Right.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was... Well, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I thought it was the god
Who they are and devour themselves. Yeah.
Yes, I understood that it was like the conflict between Lorcan and Ariel, or whatever you want to call it.
Or the Mirror Brother conflict.
Yeah. But also the fact that he is a mirror, like Pelinal is a mirror brother in his shared madness with Akatosh and all that.
It sounds like they're going to go stare at the wheel for a while. That's what I sort of heard out of that.
Contemplate the wheel.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I always thought as.
So she strikes a deal with Akatosh.
And or Lorcan.
Not a deal, but there's an arrangement made, I guess. I don't know what to say.
Honey
And
stayed
this,
so long.
well, if I understand correctly, this seals off Mundus from Daedric invasion, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Supposedly.
Hey, it
Yeah.
only happened twice.
That we know.
Yeah, exactly.
that we
Wait until
know.
they do another MMO.
I don't even think it's definitely more than twice. Like I don't think it actually sealed it off. There was maybe made it less porous, but we have enough
something.
examples of the Daedra just doing whatever they please in Mundus that it wasn't very effective.
Shivering
Yeah.
Isles sort of went into what they can do. Like they could open up an inviting door for people to head into, and hey, if they take Daedra out, I guess that wouldn't be too much of a problem, would it?
Well,
Stuff like
I guess like
You
there's
can
certainly
bring-
an argument to be
oh,
made that you could say that the Daedric lords can't just walk into Mundus whenever the hell they want.
Yeah,
No,
they
but
have
they
to
can pull
hide.
Mundus towards themselves, can't they?
Think about
Yeah,
it.
they can do
Giant
that.
key with a bunch of little holes in it.
Drag
So-
that bitch in.
The little tiny Daedra can get through, but the big ones aren't able to. I guess that's the best way to
You can
describe it.
summon-
And then 2920, and then like he was wrecking shit all for the first era. What's his ass?
Well, let's-
Well, we have the,
Sanguine hung out with Ramon for years and years.
Oh yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
Wow.
well,
There was
Ramon Bremen had the gem though at the time, right?
In his head.
Well, yeah, he had it in his head, so he could do whatever he wanted with the gem.
Yeah,
Maybe
you could argue that.
Maybe he could let the whatever, the shield, whatever you want to call it, the barrier down for Sanguine. I don't know.
Firmament.
Huh, that's a nice little parallel there. Raymond was all up with...
I don't remember him doing it on purpose from the Shoniera, but I think it can definitely be argued that just through his actions, he created enough of a mythic bridge between himself and Sanguine that he would have to show up.
Yeah.
And
practically
Sanguine, no.
No, that went all the way down to the last of the Septims. It was so hard. Martin went with Sanguine for a while too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin was a Sanguine worshipper. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because, did he ever specify he was Sanguine?
Yep.
He was a Sanguine worshipper, yeah. He says it outright in a very not easy to get to piece of dialogue. Yeah.
Anyway, want to cover the Marukh selectives?
Oh, okay. Of course.
Get to that?
Yes.
I'm going to let more people talk about this.
Go back a little bit. Like, I think for the selectives to really make sense, we have to remember what Alesia did to the religion of Cyrodiil.
Yes.
With what, the Alessian order?
No, like even just she as an empress, how she took like all the indigenous religions of the Needs and combined them with the religions of the Altmer and of the Nords to kind of create what we now know as the Eight Divines, plus Shazar and everybody as like saints to appease everybody in the political move, which I guess later comes back to bite the Alessian order in the ass.
Yeah.
Shazar was a saint? I thought he was like the head of the...
Yes, he was...
The missing...
He's a missing god, but he's also sometimes called Saint Shazar.
Oh, weird.
Like he's not worshipped as one of the Eight Divines because that would piss the Ayleids and the Altar off. And
that would have made them unhappy.
Sainthood is a very nice compromise, yeah.
Well, Lorcan was a saint.
What do you mean?
Well, he died for his religion.
No, that's a martyr.
Yeah, it's a martyr.
Yeah.
Martyr doesn't necessarily make a saint, but I mean, it could absolutely.
Yeah, it could.
Anyway,
was it a religion at the time or just a belief?
So I suppose we should go over what kind of solidified Alessia's rule was that she gathered the Nords, the Ayleids, and the Needs all together, and we're like, okay, let's make up a religion to where we don't go and kill each other, right? So
which has been done a lot in real life. So
yeah. So she made Akatosh the prime deity, which satisfied the Ayleids because the Ayleid, because of Ariel, their center on him, etc., etc. And then they added Kine or Kinnereth as one of the major powers which satisfied the Nords, since she's the kind of the pantheon head of the Nordic pantheon. And then they added several, like Juliana's.
Julianus
came from the elves, didn't he? Or
no.
Well, it depends. There's like Junal. It said that Junal was expelled from the Nordic pantheon and became Julianos in the southern lands, the Heartlands. I don't know if there's too much more on it. It's that's kind of it.
The way I look at it as is that Stendarr, Zenithar, Kinnereth, and Julianos are kind of the three or the four Manish deities, and then you have Akatosh, Mara, and Dibella as the three Merithic deities, and then you have RK, who's just kind of like, hey guys, what's up? I'm kind of here because I'm kind of like a mirror echo of Xerxes, but kind of not. What's up?
And hey, who doesn't like zombies? Woo!
Yeah.
But even then, too, just for clarification, like, I don't think, at the very least, Mara and Dibella are strictly
No, they're not.
Mer deities, because, I mean, they are major figures in the Nordic pantheon.
Yeah.
Son of Shore, after all. All three of them are there.
The Marukh are the trifecta of Nordic religion. Like, they're the
triune goddess,
even above Shore since he's dead.
Yeah.
But Mara...
That was the shield wife and the hearth wife, that thing?
Well, I think Dibella is, like, the bed wife. Mara's the war wife.
Hearth wife, Khan is the war wife.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the point is that they came up with 8 gods that satisfied everyone, and the 8 divines were made.
But unfortunately, people didn't stay satisfied.
No, but people did not stay satisfied.
And that's where Marukh came in.
Yep. He pretty much said, yeah, that's all kind of great. But Akatosh is the one true god.
So this is 100-something years after Alessia?
No, this is several centuries.
No, it's like 110, 120, something like that.
There's no exact date, but you can kind of infer from events that happen throughout kind of where it is. I mean, it's maybe 100 years.
Well, so if I understand correctly...
Considering what happens after, the chronology doesn't matter so much.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no,
I know what you mean.
From when Marukh was around, the Selectives didn't actually dance on the tower for like another more than 1,000 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There was a large gap in between them because it wasn't until, I mean, there's a line that kind of makes it seem like Marukh lived a long ass fucking time.
You saying he didn't? He's
no.
They're all wrinkled as hell all to begin with. He can't tell how old that dude is.
I'm saying I have no idea how. Well, there is no date of death, so who knows when he died?
How do we know he did?
Well, hold on. Let me find this.
He disappears from history. That's all we know.
I think that it's a little bit interesting to talk about the idea that a major political and religious leader in Cyrodiil is talked about being probably or definitely a monkey.
Yeah, a grand old...
It was doubtful until some Marukhadi texts in online appeared, at which point they started calling him Prophet Most Simian.
Who would ever doubt that, though? He's straight up mentioned being Imga. Like, you're just being...
What's the point
if you're trying to doubt that?
Well, some people don't like monkeys in their lore.
Some people need to...
Yeah, and we don't like those people.
It says that Marukh arose during the Cameron dynasty, which ruled in the First Era.
Camerons.
As far as I know, the first mention of him is in 361.
Okay.
And the rebellion was 243.
Wait, First Era 361? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy crap, he's old.
Fucking A.
Well,
and when was the Middle Dawn? Wasn't that like 1800 or something like that?
Yeah.
Something. Not like 1300, I think. Hold on.
Oh, 1200 to 2208. Yeah.
Exactly 1,008 years.
Yes.
Huh. I wonder if there's significance in that number.
Well, that's where if you ever see lore nerds go crazy about the number 1008, that's one of the reasons why we go crazy about it. It's interesting, I think, a little bit that Marukh, if Marukh is an Imga, which seems like a safe bet, aren't Imga described as being sort of like
pro-Mer?
Very pro-Altmer?
Well, that doesn't have
just like racist BS.
I think the heart of that statement is racist bullshit. I mean, there might be a large group of them, but that doesn't mean that there aren't many others that are the exact opposite.
There are factions just like any other group of people.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yes, Imga are people.
All I remember is that they shave themselves to look like Altmer and wear capes.
Maybe those ones are just the ones that mingle the most, since they're trying to imitate Altmer. So they're the ones that people associate with Imga.
Well, I think in the PGE, the point is more that they're imitators in general of, like, they want to be civilized, so they're mimicking what they see as civilization rather than specifically Altmer. But also, we know that Marukh was kind of like, he didn't willingly take on the revelation of Alessia. Like, he had to be, like, driven to it, and she made him her prophet, not like he just kind of came about it. So it would make sense if he was kind of like a pro-Altmer and then was made very anti-Altmer.
Do you think there was actual personal interaction between Alessia and Marukh?
I remember this is from that old ass fireside chat that's no longer around, so I don't remember how to.
Or maybe
it's in the one that's in the text, not the video.
Right.
I think
her spirit came to him and pushed him into it, sort of in the biblical sort of sense of appearing to him as a vision and making him do it.
Like she came down onto him as an angel, and he was like, "Nope."
Illusion of Death says that too.
Wasn't he in the middle of a desert too, dying of thirst or something?
He was essentially torturing himself. It was a 100-year penance. It's not that unlike. Almost like what the Mythic Dawn would believe, which is a very like Hellraiser Cenobite shit.
Cut yourself into your...
Yeah, like, torture leading to revelation, enlightenment, and not necessarily like Cenobite, which is pleasure, but...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you source that? I don't remember where that's from.
Yeah, it's from Illusions of Death, I believe. Oh shit, okay, good, I thought my computer froze. One sec.
Link that.
Okay, in the Illusion of Death. Then, because he had toyed with the ape-maiden Dulza, did Marukh spend his century of penance upon the stone meadows, and his sight was seared, and his tongue was swollen, and his pelt was mottled, and his left thumb pointed ever at the stars of the tower. And that's when the Shade of Alesh spoke to him.
Interesting they call her a shade.
See, that reads to me very much as, like, post-order propaganda. Like, I'm not sure how much of that was actually happening. Like, he might
I don't care.
out in the desert repenting for something, but it reads like something that's already been part of an established religion rather than...
It happened, Daria. Just accept it.
Literally true.
Fucking Elder Scrolls, who knows? Who knows?
I know.
That's the dogma we always espouse here in Elder Scrolls lore. Something is true, we just have to find it.
Yeah.
Or just reason it into being so.
Marukh's version of Alessian religion is strict. Let's call it that.
Yeah, extremely strict.
The doctrines of Marukh involve, like, for example, his version of justice was guilty until proven innocent.
Yep.
Yeah.
He seemed very sort of hardline, very sort of, retribution and, eye for an eye kind of thing. Very cruel, from what we've been given, from the information we've been given about him. Or I should say from the information that I'm aware of. Those doctrines led a group of possibly more monkeys to decide that they were unhappy with the inclusion of the, I'm going to use the term elvishness of Ariel, basically, in the Akatosh Lorcan dynamic.
But wait a minute. Isn't Akatosh the god of the Imperials?
Yes, but he's
but Ariel ain't.
Yeah.
I know. But where's Ariel is being worshipped by whom at this time?
Well, there are apparently at any given point, please remind me that I'm completely wrong. It's, if I recall correctly, and I probably don't, it's their objection was to the Ariel aspect in Imperial religion, or not in Imperial religion, in the basic, like, fundamental divinity of the 8 divines.
Okay.
Right.
So at this time, Akatosh, even though he's still being called Akatosh, is technically Ariel.
Well, they're the same god.
No.
They're just different views on him. It's like if Christians today took Christmas and then tried to wipe all pagan aspects of it. Like,
Right.
no more Christmas trees, no more presents, just baby Jesus all the time. Except it's because it's a god, not a manufactured holiday. You can't really do that.
Right.
But they tried.
Yeah. But the idea behind the selectives is that they, instead of saying we have to, get rid of all the advertising and we have to convince, petition people and hand out leaflets, they just said, we're gonna console code this bitch.
Let's just hack the universe.
Yeah, and they and it's actually it's about as close to a really huge computer hack as you can get in the Elder Scrolls without having actual computers. It's actually there's a lot. That's a good way to put it. And they climbed on top of the White Gold Tower, right? Was the White Gold Tower?
A staff or tower appeared, and they danced on it. It's left very vague what tower they actually danced on.
Oh, they could have danced on like the Rod of Chaos for all we know.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Actually, sorry. In a cut Elder Scrolls Online main quest, it was stated that it was, I think, the White Gold Tower and the Staff of Chaos, the Balak Thum. Like, they combined the two, and I think they made the Balak Thum a tower somehow. And it's been a while since I read the files, so I don't remember how it worked, but I'll try and upload that for you guys by the time this goes up.
That'd be great. Yeah.
I remember an online book connecting the towers and the staff somehow. I think.
I'm vaguely aware of something about that, but it's been a while. But
Or at least
the White Gold
staff
Tower
on the
does
towers.
the White Gold does make the most sense because it literally mantles the Arbus. So
It mirrors the Orbis at least.
like where am I gonna hack something in the universe that it is like a constant echo of itself, a constant mirror of itself? Well, I'm
getting the mental image of the Dragonborn in full iron armor dancing around and getting some gold coins in his hands.
What?
He dances.
What?
He dances player.add item, and then he dances F, and then he dances 300, and now he has more gold.
Oh.
See, Kim isn't console commands, it's just
on
dancing.
the tower and got
That's
money.
right. So they dance on the tower, and do they do it for 1,008 years, or do they just do it overnight?
Both.
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Do it
The answer is
overnight,
yes.
and overnight 1,008 years pass.
Yeah. And in that process, that element of Ariel is removed. But what's the practical effect for the Joe Blow on the ground? How would they perceive this?
Craziness, contradicting accounts of what's happening. I mean, there is a shit ton of accounts of that all contradict each other. But one constant remained through all of them was that they tracked 8 stars falling from the sky, which represent, the Aedra.
The Khajiit did, didn't they?
The Khajiit counted. They're the ones that actually counted the 1,008 years. I think that's from Where Were You When the Dragon Broke. I think the Khajiit part says that. They were the ones that actually counted it, and the arrogant Cyrodiils yanked that from them, and that kind of shit.
And so this period of time is called the Middle Dawn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is it called the Middle Dawn?
It's like the Dawn era showing up in the middle of linear time. It's the return of a non-linear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why is it
whatever.
1,008 years?
Because it can be. I don't know. Divisible by 2. It's divisible by 8.
What is it? Feldrune? Is he the one who wrote the book? Dragon Break Re-Examined? He
That
said
book was written in. That the book is funny. It's written in the 4th era, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and he's all like, it only lasted like 150 years, so who knows? But yeah, if that book came from the future, then
Didn't he say that it was like imperial propaganda or something that it lasted 1,008 years?
Bad record keeping because they kept time using how long their priestesses were in the trance rather than
it was a transcription error
or something. So, but I
The
think it
Dragon
is
Break-
important to know.
See, this is what slightly bothers me about people complaining about the transcription error now that there's actual books available. It's like complaining that Morrowind said the Middle Dawn was sort of... Anyway, Morrowind introduced the Dragon Break re-exam, didn't it? It's like saying that...
No, it didn't make it in. Kurt wrote it.
It wasn't in Morrowind?
And he wasn't...
What it was.
He wasn't on the team for the major part of the development of Morrowind, so it never made it in, and then it got snuck into Oblivion.
Huh.
No, it was totally Morrowind.
Really? I
Really?
could have sworn I saw it in Morrowind.
I could have sworn that it wasn't. Or am I thinking of something
about
else?
the book about the Dwemer that refutes all of our schools.
Yeah,
Right.
you're right. Yeah.
But yeah,
right.
it's like people complaining that Morrowind said, "Oh, well, look, the Middle Dawn is just a transcription error." No, it's just someone being wrong.
Well, I think
you're
the problem
totally
with
right,
that was the only answer we were given for a long time.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that's a
Combined
PR
with other
issue more
marketing
than.
stuff that was released was less than optimistic.
Yeah, their marketing was very cynical, trying to make it look more like Warcraft or something.
Which one, Morrowind?
It started that way, yeah.
Online.
Eventually,
Oh.
ESO eventually kind of like towards the end of the development cycle and right as the advertising was really ramping up, I think is, in my opinion, I suspect that's when they finally got like brought Lauren Schick in, and they were like, we need to appeal to the hardcore. I mean, into the marketing meetings,
Schick has been on the team since before I graduated high school, so like 2009.
Holy
He's been
crap.
there since the
09?
game started.
Yeah, Schick
Like,
is. I like.
He was the lead writer for a long time, and then they switched him to lead lore master, which I think might just be like a title change. I don't know what his actual responsibilities are.
He's mentioned that people bring stuff to him and he says that's right, that's not right. If he's not sure, he asks Kurt Coleman, something like that, in an interview.
I know he writes all the crazy shit.
It does seem that way, right?
Old bone milk that you
Yes.
can now buy.
Oh, yes. I can't wait to meet him at Gen Con.
Yeah, it seems like 9 times out of 10, if I would really like something in ESO, it's because it turns out Lauren Schick wrote it, which is hilarious. I think.
ESO brought a lot of good back on topic slightly Alessia stuff too, just because it was slightly more contemporary. Emphasis on that. It's 800 years closer. Yeah, it's still pretty. I mean, there's no Septim propaganda to muddy that up even further. Just Alessian propaganda.
Propaganda, the Lore Master's archive they did with Tharn, like that was nothing but him talking out his ass about everything. Like,
Are you talking about the one where he put on the fez and went into character and all?
no, the Lore Master's archive that they do on their website, it was with the Tharn about the Ayleids, I think, and the Alessian Rebellion. He said that needs were totally Nords and everything, and I was like,
and he was also like, my ancestor, he totally wasn't a selective. He was totally against that shit.
My other
Real
ancestor was
believable.
definitely not a slave master. Like, we are all on the up and up.
Everything's cool. Nothing's here.
I'm Nibinian to the bone.
Well, he identifies as Nibinian. So.
Who knows? Probably Nordic.
Yeah. So Marukh's people do their little thing. 1,008 years, I forgot to mention. 1,008 years, you can trace this directly to the Hindu religion.
108
where
for Samsara.
1,008 years. Oh, okay, 1,008 Mahayugas are one day for Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma's entire day is called a kalpa. So a kalpa can be divided into 1,008 Mahayugas. A Mahayuga.
What they did there,
Yeah. And then a Mahayuga is 4,320,000 years of human life, which means 1,008 Maha Yugas or 1 day of Brahma or 1 Kalpa is 4,354,560,000 human years.
Okay.
Don't let it be said that the Hindus are afraid of big numbers.
Not at all.
They love that.
Yeah.
They also like huge books.
Yeah. They'll name every year too. They'll do it.
They'll do it, man.
Yeah. Don't fucking stress these people. But 1,008, we've kind of like, I know in various forums I've bantered around various ways to divide up 1,008 where for like 36 lessons style numerology, and you don't really arrive at anything earth shattering. But it is an interesting number. I just couldn't really tell you like, specifically what it means. There's nothing that I'm aware of that's a really huge thing. It could be just a number that Kirkbride particularly enjoys. I don't really know.
Well,
I'm assuming the Hindu link is where it came from.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. What else? What are we not covering here?
Okay, so after
we spent another hour talking about Pelinal.
Yeah, we could.
Didn't we do that already? Didn't we have a podcast already about Pelinal?
I don't know, actually.
I don't think
so many of these I don't even remember anymore.
And if we don't, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, gonna have to have one.
Gonna have to have one, yeah.
Hurl, yeah, I could probably get you good notes on Hurl's Hillock 11.
I guess we should cover Hurl and the Hillock real fast because it kind of.
That's not really Alessian though. That's already Rahman, and that's gonna get us into a whole different lorecast.
I know, but it kind of.
You're gonna have to put that. You're gonna have to put that one up on Daily Motion.
Though, Hurl and the Hillock being the land and the land being Alesia, kind of combines the Nords and the Needs together into one kingdom, and out of that union is born Raymond. And that's kind of what solidifies the kingdom of man.
Why does it combine the Nords?
Say again?
Why does it combine the Nords?
Hurl was a Nordic king, right?
Oh.
No,
I don't think so. He's a Lord of Cyrodiil. Yeah.
I think it's more Nibonese and Colovian than Nords.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But,
Hold on.
Like, Rahman doesn't...
And that was so effective that you don't even hear about that anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Hold on. Maybe I'm getting my...
You hear about Nibonese culture and Colovian culture or whatever, but people always refer to them as Imperials.
Mm-hmm. Even though they're like a hugely varied group of people. Just like any other group of people in Elder Scrolls.
Just like real people.
Yeah, just like real people in real life. It's incredibly varied.
Okay, where's
That's
Quill?
pretty relaxed, dude.
He's so relaxed, man. His computer's falling off.
Okay, so if you wanna talk about Alessia and metaphysics, the connection between Padme, the concepts of possibility, of the sexual reproduction, as in the role of the womb in sexual reproduction, and the earth. As the ground in which plants grow, and therefore you connect, the seed with the womb and the ground and the water, which is the semen that fertilizes the womb, and you combine all of that stuff together with Alessia becoming the land, which makes her the mother of mankind. And it's important to say mankind and not elves, because man is the product of linearity and therefore Mundus and therefore Nirn. And so there's not really a mythical separation between the concepts of mankind, Alessia, Nirn, mortality, death and rebirth. All that stuff is all the same. It's all the same brand of juice.
And yet,
juice is the wrong word.
She's associated with Oriel due to the Akatosh connection, and due to the Dragonborn thing.
Right. And all that stuff links together to when you have Kroll getting intimate with a big pile of dirt. There's like metaphysically, there's really there's no difference. It's just the primal forces of creation and will being put together to it's an enantiomorph. People, it's another fucking enantiomorph.
Always.
There we go.
See, I read it a little differently. To me, she doesn't represent the land as in like dirt and agriculture and plants and everything like that, but more the land as the motherland, like Uncle Sam, that type of ideal.
Oh,
like
a national identity.
In the Russian, like it's just the country more than the actual like tillable soil. So when and that contrasts nicely with what we mentioned about Morihaus being a very overt sexual reproductive symbol, because kind of reverses it. Usually it's the woman that's the reproductive symbol, and then the man that's the conquering one. And in Alesia and Morihaus, it's flipped.
It is very much.
She's never really like in the canon in terms of the works of text. She's never mentioned as having any children. Like we know that she must have, and like we've had mentions of it in the kind of out of game dialogue, but that part of her life is never really made a big part of. Like she's just an empress first and foremost. She's the ruler. It's not and then she had a bunch of babies and everything. It's like, and her babies succeeded her and all that shit.
They're now the rulers of everything, because they came from the womb of the Holy Mother. Nope.
It's a very nice contrast with Tiber, too. Because, like, that plus the fact that Alessia, everything about her seems very, like, real, sort of. In a sense that it's not forced like Tiber seems. Like, he made himself this godly figure. He made himself... He, a Breton acting as a Nord, made himself king of the Cyrodiils.
Yeah.
And
whereas Alessia seems more like something that's been ordained from on high.
Right,
Yeah.
like she
by the people.
was the only one that dared to seek freedom. Like everyone else was kind of, I'm a slave, life sucks. She was like, you know what, I'm going to try to find my name, and I found this new thing, this new concept that no one has ever thought of, and I'm calling it freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that idea that she invented the idea, that she invented the concept of freedom. Is really poetic to me. That's really great. I also really sort of I love playing around with the idea that Alessia was just some badass woman, and there was no religion, there was no mysticism involved necessarily of of God speaking directly to her and stuff. Maybe that I kind of like the idea that wasn't it at all. That she was just a freedom fighter, just a badass.
Again,
and that all the religion just kind of came in after the fact. Maybe Morihaus wasn't even there in the first. Maybe Morihaus was just a really big hairy dude.
We'll always
walk really bitchin' helmet.
Like I said, I think Mythiopia plays a role in all things in the Elder Scrolls. It's like, do you make you, or do the people around you make you? Walk like them until they walk like you, or they will walk like you until you walk like them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
So, and who's to say Alessia was even one person? It could have been multiple people, like always.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Oh boy, yeah.
That reminds me. If you have you as the general audience, if you've not read the names of the Mother of Cyrodiil, or I forget what the other text was called, on the old Temple Zero, do it right now, pause the podcast, and go read that shit.
Names of the Mother of Cyrodiil, yeah.
Holy crap, this is huge.
Names of the Mother of Cyrodiil and... Sorry, I'm typing with one hand. So, the other one is Sancta Agdistra.
Could you spell that out?
If you go to monkeytruth.net, it'll be in the sidebar.
Alrighty.
The names of the Mother of Cyrodiil is kind of the continuation of Alessia's story after she wins Cyrodiil, and how her various names correspond to parts of her life and what they mean to Cyrodiil. And then Sancta Agdistra is it's like a mirror saint, the idea that around Alessia's time, a lot of people would appropriate her ideas into their own little kind of family cults and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
the other saints that would rise up out of a similar idea. That's playing off of that. And they're both excellent texts, as far as I remember.
Will read.
How's your dog's eye, Arya?
How's
How's it doing?
The
poor thing.
swelling's gone down, and he's handling it pretty well.
Aw.
That's good. He can be a pirate soon enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is little.
Just for Michael,
Looks a lot of
something
it.
gumbo lore.
That's the slowest I've ever seen him move.
Yeah.
No, he's completely out right now. He's
Little
sleeping.
trooper. He's a little trooper.
Yeah, he is. Here.
hmm Sure he
Double
is.
face.
Hey, buddy.
I'm
Aw.
opening your eye. And I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
What can I do
I go back
there?
to sleep.
I'm
No.
tired. I have
Window.
to lick my balls.
Now you've done it. He can see outside. He's never going back.
Aw.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to say in
That's
our...
always the question. Yeah.
Well, there's always something more we want to say, but is there anything
And there's
else?
always something we missed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We never do a very good job of this. One of these days, I'm going to show up at one of these with like a complete bullet point list of like everything.
Boy.
And we're gonna do the hell out of it, and it's
You're
gonna have to be
gonna throw
something
us off.
really simple. It's gonna
You're
have to
gonna
be something
throw
really
us off.
small and simple. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Let's see.
I
Small
don't
and
think that's
simple.
what people come here for.
Yeah.
Small and
They
simple.
come
How
here for the
about,
dankness. That's it.
how about insane and/or annoying Bosmer? Or could we go on that for hours?
Yeah.
Bosmer? We don't need to talk
Uh.
about Bosmer in the Alessian podcast.
Not this time.
Well,
No. Next time.
Really want to get technical? King Borges was killed because he was an Alessian Order fan. He liked Marukh, and he was on his way,
They got wild hunted.
and he got wild hunted.
Yeah.
Real.
Got it on.
It's not a bad way to die, all things considered.
That's fucking
no.
horrific. Are you kidding me? Monsters coming out of Valenwood to kill
I mean-
you? I would
And
be
then kill
terrified.
everything else?
I mean, in terms of a historical way, how you remember
Oh,
it.
it's
No,
entirely
that
badass. I
actual-
agree.
Not the actual experience.
They had to literally transform themselves into horrifying, terrifying monsters just to kill this one guy. Okay.
Yeah. Didn't Pelinal stop short at that?
At turning into
I thought he
Valenwood?
stopped short at elsewhere.
Yeah, it might have been elsewhere. That might have been it.
he went through elsewhere, and then
Yeah.
Alessia would be like, "Whoa, dude, no, these are not elves."
And then Alkosh was like, hey, GTFO nerd.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to say if you, for viewers who are
Oops, wrong zone. Sorry, wrong zone.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a moth flying around and hitting nine stairs of that all of a sudden.
Well, okay. We've mentioned a lot of links in this, and I mailed a couple to them through Facebook Messenger for you, Corey. But we'll try to get them in the comments.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
For the viewers who are watching, if you guys have any questions, whatever, some of us will be looking over it and try to answer your stuff, and try not to get there 3 months after the fact.
Mhm.
And
You can always send me shit on Tumblr. I will eventually get to it. I
Yeah.
promise. Eventually.
your lady
I have
is
a backlog.
correct?
Is anybody doing any projects they want to mention?
No, just
I'm
my.
getting married next week.
Yeah.
It's my
Breaking the
birthday.
mold.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, my comics constantly
Hmm.
getting art for it, so that'll be out in like a year.
Oh, I always have projects, but I abandon them like a week afterwards.
I'm doing this. I'm doing a series called The Songs of the Charmat, so check that stuff out. It's pretty cool.
Ooh. Where's that going to
Nice.
be posted?
I've been
It's been
posting
on-
it on.
Go ahead.
What's that, Chris?
I
Is
was
that
just
on the
going to
Reddit?
say, yeah, it's been on the subreddit.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool stories.
Mm-hmm.
We've been,
And okay.
I'm working on some shit I'm not allowed to talk about, but hopefully next time.
No tease, no no.
I've been trying to work on a sort of high-level Lua library for hacking Super Metroid
Oh,
because I feel like it.
all right.
Yeah,
like
then
that kind of work.
Then I got to Samus's flags, and there's 253 of them I have to input manually.
253. They were holding back from the round number.
Yeah. So wait, let me do some math.
It's a prime number. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
Well, no. See, it's 8 bits, and 3 of them they just didn't fill out. So 3 of the numbers they just didn't fill out. So that's it.
Yeah.
Let's get into some Metroid numerology here.
Oh boy, there it is. Sermon 29 for Super Metroid.
253 are the states Samus can be in. If you turn off moonwalking, 2 of them are forever locked off to you unless you damage boost, at which point...
Oh, no.
Shit, that works really well. Okay. All right, well, everybody wave goodbye, because that's it. Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. Somebody hit stop. I can't hit stop.
Oh yeah, that's me.
I'm not. I'm not